Hello everyone. So this is Weber and I hope you have attended today's quiz in the morning, which is quiz number 2 on the topic inverse T functions. And in case you don't know, we have completed up to now 7 lectures on this topic and we are going to start with the 8th lecture very soon. Okay. So before that, first let me just answer you with the solutions of today's quiz that we just conducted in the morning. In case you have not attended that quiz up till now, please attend that quiz first before watching the solutions. Also, if you have not attended any of the 7 lectures, then first attend that lectures, then attend the quiz and then come to this solution. Okay? Because it would be very necessary if you just attend that lecture and then do the quiz, because then it would become very easy for you to answer in the quiz. Okay? So let's start then for those who have attended the quiz and have completed these 7 lectures. Okay, so let us start with the solutions of section A first. Okay, so the first question was you have to find the value of x in this given expression, and the 4 options were given to you. As I told you, only one of them was correct. So the correct one was B. So the answer was basically root 3 by 2 and rest of the options are incorrect. Okay, so I hope you have done this correct because this is just an easy question. Okay, now today what I'll tell you the methods to do this question. Basically, I'll tell you three methods to do this question. So with any one method you can proceed. Just you have to be clear while doing the methods. You have to give full explanation, or what I can say is the necessary properties or that you are using. Okay, so let's start with the method number 1. Let's see. So it was given to you that cos inverse of sine of cos inverse x as pi by 3. What we can do? Can I do this? Can I take this cos inverse over here? I can do this. We can do this totally, na? So what you would be having? Sine of cos inverse x as cos pi by 3, right? And what is cos pi by 3? Cos pi by 3 means cos 60 degree. And cos 60 degree is nothing but half, right? Clear? Now, let's move to the next step. As I take cos inverse to here, I can also take sine over here. So then I would be having cos inverse x as equals to sine inverse half, right? You remember this expression? Sine of alpha equals to x. As I told you, whenever you would be having sine of alpha equals to x, you can just totally take alpha as sine inverse of x. This is the same expression as we did in the second lecture, right? So that means cos inverse x is nothing but sine inverse half. Now you know that how to find the value of sine inverse half, right? I told you it's nothing but pi by 6, or you can directly say with the 4 steps that I told you in the earlier classes. Okay, so either you can do that 4 steps, or you can directly look at that thing that sine has the value half at pi by 6. That means that 30 degree only. So you can directly write it at pi by 6. But in the bracket you need to just mention the reason, right? You have to say that principal value lies in that quadrant and sine is positive in that, so that's why sine inverse half is nothing but pi by 6. Okay, so you have to write the reason in the bracket, but I have not written over here because you understand the reasons. Okay, now now we have cos inverse x is pi by 6, so I can again take this cos inverse over here and it will become cos. So x would be cos of pi by 6. Cos of pi by 6 means what? Cos of 30. And you know that cos 30 is nothing but root 3 by 2. We are done? Yes? Yes or no? We are done. Now this is one of the easiest ways to do this question. Just take all the things over here and you can easily able to find the value of x. In case you have not proceed with these steps, no problem. There are other two methods as well. You can do them as well. Firstly, come to the method number 2. Please understand carefully, and if at any steps you don't get it, please mention the comment section your doubt. Okay, it was given to you. Cos inverse of sine of cos inverse of x is pi by 3. What else you can do? What else you can do if you can't just take these all over there? Can you do this? Can you write this or not? That sine of cos inverse x equals to cos of sine inverse x. Now, this expression which I'm telling to you is either you just know this, or you just remember this, or you can directly, what I can say, derive this. I'll tell you how you can derive this, but for the time being, you just assume that this is true. That sine of cos inverse x equals to cos of sine inverse x. This is sine of cos inverse x now. That's why I'm using this expression. I'll tell you how we can say these are both equal, and this is basically the expression is used in two of the questions. One is this and another one is also in the section number A only. And the sixth question, I think the same expression is being used. Okay, so if you just know that, you can also do this question. So for the time being, you take that this equals to this one. Now substitute the value. So cos inverse of this expression would become cos of sine inverse x equals to pi by 3. Right? Now what you have, this cos inverse of cos of something. And I told you cos inverse of cos of theta is nothing but theta. Right? So that means I can write sine inverse x is pi by 3. Also I told you one thing, I'll tell you afterwards, that cos inverse of cos theta equals to theta when we have a restriction. It is never equal to always theta. It has a restriction that theta must belongs to closed interval 0 comma pi, right? And what is sine inverse x? What is the value? It means only the angle. And sine inverse x, the principal value, if I just say, it lies in minus pi by 2, pi by 2. That means we have a range from 0 to pi by 2 that is common, right? So for that, we can write it as sine inverse x as pi by 3, correct? Then what I can write? X as sine pi by 3. Sine pi by 3 means sine 60, and which is also root 3 by 2. So this is the second way you can proceed with. Okay, this is the other way. Now comes to the main thing, this expression. Sine of cos inverse x equals to cos of sine inverse x. How these are both equal? Okay, so we'll use the same thing that we have done up till now. And I told you many times in the question as well. What? Just firstly consider this term. Okay, sine of cos inverse. Take the inside term cos inverse x is some angle alpha. You can take anything. So then cos of alpha would be x, right? Now, what you have to do, if you have to evaluate this, you have to convert this, which is nothing but alpha, in the terms of sine inverse. So what you will do, you have to find the value of sine alpha. Either you can make the triangle, but another way I have told you many times, you can use the property as well. So I am using this trigonometric identity. You know that sine square x plus cos square x is equals to 1. So with this, I can find the value of sine alpha as this, square root of 1 minus sine cos square alpha, which is square root of 1 minus x square. So alpha would be sine inverse of square root of 1 minus x square. This is only the alpha. You have to put sine inverse over here. Substituting the value, this is alpha. So sine of cos inverse x is equal to sine of alpha by this term, which is equal to sine of, putting the value of alpha, this sine inverse of root 1 minus x square. Now sine of sine inverse x equal to x only. And this I have also told you. This equals to x for all x belongs to this closed interval minus 1 comma 1, not for all. That means only for when x belongs to this interval minus 1 comma 1 closed. And this actually belongs to this. If you take any value of x, because if you take any value of x between minus 1 and 1 only, then only it would become lie between -1 and 1. Okay, so then actually you can write this thing, and basically it belongs to the closed interval 0 comma 1 in this case, but we have this thing true for all -1 to 1. Okay, so that's why you can write this. Basically you need not to explain this, that this belongs to the closed interval -1 comma 1. You just have to write this property on. Okay. Okay, now you have a question that how do we know this thing? Well, I can just say that you just look at this expression first. This is the value that is x. That must belongs to this interval, right? If you take x greater than 2, greater than 1 or less than -1, what would happen? Suppose I take x greater than 1 as 2. What would it become? 1 minus 2 square, which is 1 minus 4, which is square root of -3, and which is not defined basically, right? So we can't evaluate such an expression. So we just want it to be inside to be positive to, so that it would be defined. So that means x must be less than 1, because if it is 1 it must be 0 either, and if it is -1 also, then it is also 0, right? So x belongs to this one, it can't go outside. So that's why we have a x belongs to this only, means this whole expression also belongs to this. Okay, how? You just take x square, that also belongs to the this interval, then it belongs to the closed interval 0 comma 1, because that is positive. Okay. Now 1 minus any of this expression would be again in this interval 0 comma half, 0 comma 1, right? And its square root is also lying in this interval only. So that's why we can write it directly as square root of 1 minus x square. Okay. Now you must be questioning that I have to show that sine of cos inverse x as cos of sine inverse x, but I have shown that sine of cos inverse x is square root 1 minus x square. This is not what we want. Just wait. I'll again show that this expression is also equals to this. So then we can say that both are equal. So I'll do that. I hope this thing is clear, that how sine of cos inverse x equals to square root 1 minus x square. Now let's move ahead. So we just show that sine of cos inverse x is square root 1 minus x square. And we want to again show this, that cos of sine inverse x is also equals to this term. How to proceed? Again doing the same number of steps. Now what I take? I take sine inverse x as beta. So then sine of beta would be x. I have to find cos. So again using the same identity. Sine square x plus cos square x is 1. That means what? Cos beta is nothing but square root 1 minus sine square beta, which is square root 1 minus x square. So beta would be cos inverse square root 1 minus x square. And cos of sine inverse x is cos beta, is cos of, from here you get this, cos inverse of square root 1 minus x square, which is also this square root 1 minus x square. For the same reason, that cos of cos inverse x is x, for x belongs to the same, because you know that for the sine and cos the domain is the same one. Now what we get, that sine of cos inverse x equals to cos of sine inverse x equals to this, because both are equal, both are equal to a value, so that means both are equal. Now this is the result basically that you can use in your questions, but you must show this thing if you are using it, right? Because I have not taught this thing to you, but right now I am telling you. This is that you can, how you can proceed with the question. Okay. So this I have told you is the second number of method that you can use this expression or the equality to do the question. Now comes the third method to do this question. Okay. So you was given cos inverse of sine of cos inverse x is 3. What you can do? You can reduce from inside on. You can take cos inverse x is alpha. So cos of alpha would be x. Now, this is the first thing that I have told you how to do these types of questions. Make a right angle triangle, right? Take that angle as alpha, whichever you are taking. Now you have cos alpha as x. Okay, also name the triangle as A, B and C. Now you have cos of alpha equals to x. You know that cos is nothing but base upon hypotenuse. So then BC would be x and AB would be 1. Okay, using this thing. You know that PBP and HHB. So this is nothing but for cos based upon hypotenuse. You do the same thing. Now you can find this AC as well, which is square root 1 minus x square. How did you find this? Using the Pythagoras theorem. You remember that? So AC is nothing but square root of AB square minus BC square. That means square root 1 minus x square. This is nothing but the perpendicular. Now we have outside sine, so we want over here sine inverse x. In order to find sine inverse x, we have to find sine of alpha. So from this triangle, sine of alpha is what? Using this rule. Perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So square root 1 minus x square over 1, which is nothing but square root 1 minus x square. Now this thing is given to you. This becomes cos inverse of sine inverse of square root 1 minus x square. You just replace this. First you replace this thing by alpha, and then you replace from alpha by the sine inverse of square root 1 minus x square. I have just merged the steps over in this step, and I have not written over that. For clarification, you can write those as well. Okay, I have directly placed it rather than writing it as alpha. Okay, now sine of sine inverse x, again the same thing because it's square root, so it's nothing but belongs to that domain. So cos, it would become cos inverse of square root 1 minus x square, and which is pi by 3. Now again the reasoning I have not written over here. You have to write the reasoning that sine of sine inverse x equals to x for all x belongs to closed interval minus 1 comma 1. So you have to write that reasoning. Okay, I have not written over here, so you have to write that. Now this is the thing that you have. What you can do, you can now take the cos over there. So you'd be having square root 1 minus x square is cos pi by 3, and cos pi by 3 is nothing but cos 60, which is nothing but half. Now just have to solve this. So 1 minus x squared would be 1 by 4, x squared would be 3 by 4. Just take this thing over there and that over here. So x would be square root 3 by, x would be root 3 by 2. That is the expression that you are getting. Clear? So I hope this question is clear to you with the 3 methods that I have told you. These are the methods that you can use. Also, if you have used any of other method to solve this question, please do let me know in the comment section. Okay, so that I can just check whether you have done it right or not, or what else you have done. Because I could have think this in this 3 steps only, 3 methods only. If you have done something else, then that would be very good, so that everyone could be knowing that thing as well, and they could learn something from you as well. Okay, so please mention that in the comment section. Now let's move to the next question. Question number 2. Question 2 was given to you. If A belongs to R, that means A is a real number, and tan inverse of A as B, then you have to find the value of R cot A minus pi by 2. That means cot inverse A minus pi by 2. Right? Options was given to you as A minus B, B by 2 and minus A. Okay? So let's look at the answer first. And which is of course minus B. Now this is also one of the easiest questions in this quiz. I have just given it to you so that if you know the properties or not very well, if you have just read them or not, very easily you can see that you know that for x in the real number you have this thing. Tan inverse x plus cot inverse x is pi by 2. You know this, right? Now A belongs to R here also. So tan inverse A plus cot inverse A is also pi by 2. Right? Simply you have to proceed. So cot inverse A is nothing but pi by 2 minus tan inverse A. You can take it that side. Right? So then cot inverse A minus pi by 2, because that is the value you have to find. So cot inverse A minus pi by 2 would be minus tan inverse A, and that is nothing but minus b. Why? Because tan inverse A value is given to you as b. You just have to substitute the value, and that is just a simple answer. So it is a very basic and the easy question in order to check whether you know the property or not. If you just know this property, you can directly do this question. Otherwise not. Okay. So let's now move to the next question. I hope this question is clear to you. If not, if you have any doubt, please mention in the comment section. So let's now move to the third one question, which was this. So it was asking you to find the value of this expression, and it says it lies in the which of the following four intervals given to you. Okay, so let me tell you the correct answer, and the correct answer is also B, closed interval minus 1 comma 0. Okay, so let me give you the explanation. What is the answer? So firstly, what we know that cos of A plus B as cos of A into cos of B, negative sin A into sin. Now why we are using that? Because if you just look at this expression, it is cos of A plus this B, right? So it's similar to that. So we'll use this expression. This was given to you. You can write it like this. Cos of cos inverse minus root 3 by 2 into cos of pi by 6 minus sin of cos inverse of minus root 3 by 2 into sin of pi by 6. Now just evaluate. So here you have cos of cos inverse x, and x is nothing but belongs to the closed interval minus 1 comma 1. So you can write it like minus root 3 by 2 into root 3 by 2, which is nothing but cos pi by 6 minus. Now what do you do here? Sin of. So cos inverse of minus of x, you can do it like pi minus cos inverse of x, because this x belongs to closed interval minus 1 comma 1. Reasoning you have to do or give at every step. Over here also and over here also. You need not to forget that. And sin pi by 6 is sin 30 is half. Now you just solve this. So it would be minus 3 by 4 minus. Half is the same. Now look at this. Sin 180 minus theta is nothing but sin theta. Right. So you'd be having sin of this expression. Cos inverse of root 3 by 2. Now, can you tell the value of this? That cos has the value root 3 by 2 at which angle? At pi by 3. That means at 30 degree. So then I directly write it as sin 30 degree. Even you can write, you can have to write the reasoning that this is basically 30 and sine of pi minus theta is sin theta. Then you have to write this thing. I am just leaving those some steps so that you can be able to remember those steps and write them. Okay, I may not be able to write all the steps over here. I will just tell you where the steps are necessary, where you have to write them. Okay, so you can use that thing, that sine of 1 pi minus theta is sin theta. First reasoning. Second reasoning, that this thing cos inverse root 3 by 2 has the value pi by 6. Now just simplify. So minus 3 by 4. Now sin 30 is nothing but also half, so it would be minus 1 by 4. Now minus 3 by 4 minus 1 by 4 is minus 1. This is the value that you get after solving this expression. Okay. Now you just have to check minus 1 value lies in which of the intervals. Minus 1 is not in the D because it is open. So it is not D. And it is from 0 to 1, so the negative value minus 1 is not here. Here minus 1 is not here because it just went to minus half and half. Minus 1 is built that. It's not over here. But here we have the closed interval minus 1, so it's the correct answer. That's why B is the correct answer. Now these type of questions are very easy and very easy to do, and they might come in your competitive kind of exams. They might not be asking you the value, but they might be asking you the value lies in which of the following intervals. Okay, in the interval form they can ask. Okay, so I hope this question is clear. Let's move to the fourth one. Okay, I have written the reasoning over here. That this reasoning, yes, that cos inverse negative x is pi minus cos inverse x for x belongs to the closed interval minus 1. So this type of reasoning you have to write that. Whenever you write in the answers, you have to write this kind of reasoning in the square bracket wherever you are using that. This is just an example I have written over here. You have to write at each step whenever you are using any property. Does not depend whether the question is of 2 marks or 4 marks or 6 marks. You have to write that because that clearly explains that you know what you are writing and you have not written by the cheating. Okay, so let's move to the fourth one. Now the question was asking you to find the value of this expression, sine of 2 into cos inverse of minus 3 by 5. This is just an easy question. I have done that, and the answer is nothing but A, minus 24 by 25. I hope you are correct. If not, then please look at the explanation. Okay, now here also I'll tell you two methods how to do this question. Firstly, what you know that sine of 2 theta is equals to 2 sine theta cos theta. Correct? You have to use that. So you are given this expression. So it would become 2 into sine of cos inverse minus 3 by 5 into cos inverse minus 3 by 5. Correct? It would become 2 into sine inverse cos 3 by 5 into. Now this expression would become minus 3 by 5 because minus 3 by 5 belongs to the closed interval minus 1, 1 and cos of cos inverse x is x for all dt for in the closed interval minus 1, 1. This is the first reasoning you have to give over here. R means the reasoning. Okay? Not the real line. Okay? Now, on solving, you will get minus 6 by 5 into sine of cos inverse of minus 3 by 5. I have written the reasoning over here. Since cos of cos inverse x is x, for all x belongs to the closed interval minus 1, comma. Okay, this is the reasoning which you have to give over there. Now, let's see how to evaluate this. Firstly, let me explain you to the method number 2. Now this thing, whatever I have told you up till now, this is the common method. You have common steps you have to perform in both the methods. Now how you need to solve. So what I'll take the inside expression cos inverse minus 3 by 5 is alpha. Right. So then cos of alpha would be minus 3 by 5. Easy. So outside, if you just remember, let me just tell you. This was the expression. You have to evaluate this expression. How to evaluate this? I have told you in 2 steps. I mean by 2 methods. Okay. Outside is sine, inside there is cos inverse. Now, so you have to find sine. Now, sine of alpha, you use the same property, sin square alpha plus cos square alpha is 1. So, on solving, you will get this thing as 4 by 5. I'll tell you why we have taken it as positive. I'll tell you it later, after explaining both of the methods. Now, you was having this expression. You reduced it to this. Correct? Substitute the value. So, it would be minus 6 by 5 into sine inverse, because just replace it by alpha. And then finally replace alpha by sine inverse 4 by 5. And that is nothing but 4 by 5 only, because this belongs to closed interval minus 1, 1. So, it would be minus 6 by 5 into minus 4 by 5, and which is nothing but minus 24 by 20. Clear? Here you have to give the reasoning. Sine of sine inverse, that kind of reasoning. Okay? Now comes to the method number 1. What you can do else. So you have shown up till this that this expression is nothing but this expression. Correct? What I'll do, I now use one property that cos of my yes, there's one bracket over here because of this bracket. Yes. So you can use that cos inverse of minus x is nothing but pi minus cos inverse x for x belongs to the closed interval minus 1, 1. Here you have to give that reasoning. Okay. So I use that reasoning. Now it would become sine of pi minus cos inverse 3 by 5. Correct? Now you know that sine 180 minus theta is nothing but sine theta. So it would be sine of cos inverse 3 by 5. Now how to evaluate this? Same thing. Take this inside expression as alpha. So then cos alpha would be 3 by 5. Now find sine. Sine alpha would be this using the same rule. You will get again the 4 by 5. Now substituting the value. Now I have not written all those steps because these are just the same as this. You have to do this. You have to substitute. Now here, just the thing is, it would be just positive for this case. For method one, I am telling over here on. So it would be positive. It would be the same 4 by 5. It would be substituting the values. You get as the answer minus 24 by 25. The same answer you get. Okay, now I would tell you why we have just taken the value of cos is positive, because it's square root over here. We can just take either positive or negative. Why we have just taken positive and neglected the negative? Okay, what is this expression basically? Can anyone tell me? This is the hint. This is basically the alpha is the nothing but the principal value, right? This is the range, or you can say what the range would be. If you know for cos, the range must belongs to the closed interval 0 comma pi, right? Correct. Now what is the thing? This is the thing that x belongs to closed interval 0 comma pi. Now when I write sine of alpha, sine is closed interval 0 comma pi means the first quadrant or the second quadrant, and you know that sine is positive in first and in second as well. So whether angle lies in first or in second, it doesn't matter, sine would always be positive. So that's why I have taken positive over here, not negative, because of that reason. Now comes to here. Here when I am taking this thing as alpha, this is again the principal value. Okay. Okay. One mistake I have done. Right now I have done just one mistake. If anyone could tell me, that would be great. Look at this expression. Or look at basically this expression. Yes. Cos of alpha is negative. You know that cos is negative in the first and the third quadrant. Sorry, in the second and the third quadrant. Right? So alpha belongs to either this or either this. But you know that cos inverse minus 3 by 5 is alpha. So that means what? It is the principal value. It must lie in the principal value for cos inverse, and which is from 0 to pi. So that means angle must lie in the second quadrant only, not in the third. This is the correct reason. Okay, this is the correct, that it must belong to the second quadrant, and sine is positive in second, that's why it is positive. Yes, this is the correct. I have first time I have just mixed up with this because this is negative now. I have just forget about this negative. Okay, because of this negativity, angle lies either in second or the third, but because it's the principal value for the inverse cosine lies in closed interval 0 comma pi, that is either in first and second, so common is second. That's why sine is positive in second, so that's why we have taken positive. Now comes to here. Here cos alpha is positive. Cos is positive in the first or the fourth quadrant, and this is cos inverse 3 by 5 is alpha, that means it's the principal value or the range, and which lies in the first or the second quadrant. So common is first only. Again the first, so sine is positive in the first quadrant, that's why I have taken positive. Don't think that we can always take the positive. Maybe there may be some case that this would be the quadrant, the fourth, so then we would be taking it as negative. Don't think like that. And you have to do these steps because these are very much important. If you directly proceed, maybe you will not consider the sign, and your answer might be changing, right? So don't do that, because if in that question I just replace something and you'd be getting negative over here, but you consider it as positive, so your answer would be this thing, but correct answer would be this thing. So it can be the thing. So proceed carefully while doing the question. Okay, let's move to the fifth one question now. Okay, so this one is also an easy question from your book only. You have to find the value of cot of tan inverse A plus cot inverse A, where A belongs to R. Very easy question. And the correct answer is B, which is 0. Let's see how it is. Again, you have to use the property that you know that for all x in R, this thing. tan inverse x plus cot inverse x is pi by 2. And that means here A belongs to R, given to you. So that means tan inverse A plus cot inverse A is also pi by 2, right? Now, this is given to you cot of tan inverse A plus cot inverse A. You can write like cot of pi by 2 because inside term is just pi by 2 from this expression. Now, cot pi by 2 you can break like cos pi by 2 over sin pi by 2. Now, cos pi by 2 means cos 90, which is 0. Sin pi by 2, which is sin 90, which is 1. And 0 by 1 is nothing but 0, which is your answer. This was also a very easy question for the 2 marks. If you want to gain it, very easy. I hope so this question is also clear. So let's now move to the final question for section number A. Okay, this one might be look lengthy or big, but it's actually not. It's asking you to find the value of sine inverse of cos of sine inverse x plus cos inverse of sine of cos inverse x. And the correct answer is pi by 2. This is also a solved example from your book only. Okay. Here also I'll tell you two methods how to proceed. Method number 1. You was given this expression sine inverse of cos sine inverse x plus cos inverse of cos sine cos inverse x. What you can do? You can just replace these. As I told you earlier, I proved this that cos of sine inverse x equals to sine of cos inverse x, which is equals to square root 1 minus x square. So you can use that. So in both, I have just replaced them. Why? Because that would just make this question a bit easy. And then I would be just having cos inverse x plus sine inverse x. Now here you have to give the reasoning that why I have written this step, because sine inverse of sine x is sine x for x belongs to what domain, and cos inverse of cos of x equals to x for what domain. You have to give that reason. Now you got this cos inverse x plus sine inverse x, and you know that it is pi by 2. Since sine inverse x equals to cos inverse x equals to pi by 2 for x belongs to this domain closed door minus 1 common. This is important domain. You can just write this thing. That would just deduct your marks because if you just don't know the domain. Okay. Now this is the first method and the easy one which you can do. Just using that property, but for that you have to show that property. If you are using that, you have to show how that property comes. That how sine cos of sine inverse x equals to sine of cos inverse x. Okay. Now let's come to method number 2. Okay. So this was the expression given to you. Correct? Now, what you can do? Just look at this. I can use a property over here. You can have to write that in reasoning. You know that sine inverse x plus cos inverse x is pi by 2. Just now we have used it. So using the same thing and writing this. Replacing sine inverse x by pi by 2 minus cos inverse x and cos inverse x by pi by 2 minus sine inverse x. We can totally do this. Right? Now. So then you would be having cos of 90 minus theta. And you know that at 90 and at 270, cos becomes sine and sine becomes cos. So cos 90 minus theta would be nothing but sine theta, this thing, and sine 90 minus theta is cos theta. Correct? Rest thing is same. Cos inverse and sine inverse would become same. Now this is the thing same, and this is the thing become same. You can totally cancel them. Earlier they was not same, but now they become same. So you just cancel them because you know that sine inverse of sine x. Now this is the reasoning number 2 that you have to write. This is reasoning number 1, reasoning number 2. That sine inverse of sine x is x when, and cos inverse of cos x is x when x belongs to closed door minus 1. This is the reasoning you have to write for both. Don't forget that. So this will become cos inverse x plus sine inverse x. Now again using the second property. So reasoning number 3. And you will get the answer as pi by 2. Since sine inverse x plus cos inverse x is pi by 2 for x belongs to closed interval 0. So this is the third I have just written over here. Okay, this is the property. So you just see how in section A only we have used so many properties and how the questions comes and become very easy with the help of those properties. Otherwise you have to just fully do the question very lengthy way, right? And with the help of properties we can easily do that, right? Otherwise if you have to proceed this question, you have to take cos sine inverse x as theta, you have to make a right angle triangle, then have to convert it in cos, again applying cos of cos inverse, then again convert it. It would become very tedious task. But using that cos of sine inverse x is sine of cos inverse x, either use that or just use that property that sine inverse x plus cos inverse x by 2, either using this, you can directly do this question. Okay, so whenever the question comes, try to do it in different ways and think for the different logics that you're getting, and then try to see which one uses the less number of steps in an easy way, and you can manage your time. I'm telling you all the way so that you can get the idea of how the questions are to be done, how we can think of the questions as. But you have to think just for one only. Means you have to think for all, but do for one only, whichever seems to the best to you. But always mention the reasoning whatever you are using. That is very much important. Okay. So we have done section A now. Let's now move to section number B. So let us now move to section B. Its solutions. Okay. So I hope you are clear with all the solutions of section A. If not, if you have any further doubt, please do mention in the comment section. Okay. Let's now move to the solutions of section number B. So question number 1 was, you have to show that tan inverse of tan 5 pi by 6 is not equals to, this is not equals to 5 pi by 6, and then you have to find the value. That means you have to find this value. What is the value then? If it is not equal to this, then what is its value? And the question was a 6 marks. Okay, so I hope this question you already have done it, because this is also an easy question. Also, I should not say easy, I will say very easy question. Let's see. So firstly, whenever you see this tan inverse of tan form, so you remember this formula, that tan inverse of tan theta equals to theta whenever theta belongs to this interval, closed open minus pi by 2 comma pi by 2, right? I told you how to remember this. So you remember this thing, that it is equal to theta only when theta belongs to this. Now 5 pi by 6 is nothing but what? It belongs to the second quadrant. I told you how to check it, right? So this is pi by 6. What is 2 pi by 6? 2 pi by 6 is nothing pi by 3. 3 pi by 6 is nothing but pi by 2. 4 pi by 6 will lie over here. 5 pi by 6 will be here. And 6 pi by 6 is nothing but pi. And it is 5 pi by 6, which is nothing but this. So 5 pi by 6 lies in the second interval, second quadrant. Okay. And which does not belongs to this theta. Theta does not belongs to that. Theta belongs to either first or the fourth one. So that means 5 pi by 6 does not belong to this interval. So thus tan inverse of tan 5 pi by 6 not equal to pi by 6. 5 pi by 6. It is very easy question actually. There is nothing in this question, just you have to use this property and directly you can say it's not equal. And now you have to find its value. Actually these types of questions we have also done in the lectures. How to do that? We just have to rewrite this inside angle in simpler terms, right? So we have to find this value. What we'll do? We'll rewrite this 5 pi by 6 as this. We can write this 5 pi by 6 as pi minus pi by 6. Okay, so that we can just reduce it further and can use this property. That's why we are rewriting this at. We can rewrite 5 pi by 6 as pi minus pi by 6. Then what will happen? So tan inverse of tan 5 pi by 6 would be tan inverse of tan pi minus pi by 6. Now what you know? Okay, you have to give a reasoning over here. I have not given it. I have told you I'll not give the reasoning. You have to give the reasoning by yourself. Sometimes I may give you, but otherwise you have to remember where you have to write, and you have to write it down. Otherwise you will lose your marks. Now you must write the reasoning that tan of pi minus theta is nothing but minus tan theta, right? And that's why tan of pi minus theta is minus tan theta. Yes, I have written it over wrong. Yes, it minus would come outside like this. It would be okay. This step is wrong actually. You need not to write this step. Directly you come from this to this. So tan inverse, now tan pi minus theta is minus tan theta, right? Now what will happen? And now you have to again use the another property. So tan inverse of minus x is nothing but minus tan inverse x. Now pi by 6 belongs to this interval which is given to you. Satisfying this property, so tan inverse of theta would be tan theta would be, so it would be minus pi by 6 only. Okay? And okay, I thought I have given the reasoning over here, but I have not given it, so you have to give the reasoning. This is basically the second reasoning I must say. First reasoning you have to give over here. Reasoning means the reason. How can you say that? That tan of pi minus theta is minus tan theta. This is wrong. You have to come directly from here, right? So how tan of pi, you have to say that tan of pi minus theta is minus tan theta. First reasoning. Second reasoning that tan inverse of tan x is nothing but x whenever x belongs to open interval minus pi by 2 comma pi by 2, and pi by 6 satisfies that property, so you can directly say it's pi by 6. Okay, so two reasonings you have to give to show this. So this is just an easy question of 6 marks. If you have properly used the properties and have given the proper reasoning, just grant yourself full 6 marks. Otherwise, deduct accordingly. Okay, let's now move to the next question. So question number 2, you have to prove that tan inverse of 1 plus x over 1 minus x equals to pi by 4 plus tan inverse x, where x is less than 1. Okay, x is strictly less than 1. It is also of 6 marks. Now for this question, you can proceed with two ways. I'll tell you both of the methods you can do in this question. Okay, just understand them carefully. First method, you have to show this thing. You can also do this thing. That means you have to show, you can also take this tan over this side and you can write this thing. You have to show this. That means you can also show this thing. That is not a problem. Now let's see how we do that. Now it becomes a very much easy question. So you just have to use this property. Tan of a plus b is tan a plus tan b over 1 minus tan a into tan b. Because here we have tan of a plus b form. So that means tan of pi by 4 plus tan inverse x is nothing but this thing. Now tan pi by 4 is 1 and tan of tan inverse x is x. So you can directly write this and you are getting 1 plus x over 1 minus x, which you want to get. Hence proved. Now one more thing is important over here. If you have done up till this and you just left that and write it out, hence proved, you are done. Then grant yourself only 4 marks because you have done a less question. That means you have just forgotten something about this. You also have to show that this is true for x less than 1, not for any x, only for x strictly less than 1. How you can show that? Look at it carefully. Okay, this is the reasoning. I have given over here reasoning, but you have to wrote that. I have given both the reasonings, that this form and this form. You have to give it like this. That this form I am using now, that tan of tan inverse x is x for all x belongs to 1, so that's why. Okay, now comes to this thing x less than 1. How can you show that x is less than 1? Suppose x equals to 1. You will write this. I am just explaining you, you have to write that in your answer. Suppose x equal to 1. So then 1 minus 1 would be 0 and this would become infinity, which does not define. So x can't be 1. Explain this. Okay. So that means x can't be less than 1. X can't be 1. It can either be less than 1 or greater than 1. Okay. Now we take x as greater than 1. Take any value. We doesn't have to show that. Now look at this term. If x is greater than 1, So it would be 1 plus x would be positive only, but 1 minus x would be negative. So this term would be negative, or you can say less than 0. Now look at this. X is greater than 1, and you know that tan inverse x. So its range, okay, its principal value or the range you can say would lie in the closed open interval 0 comma pi. Sorry, not open interval 0 comma pi. Sorry. It's yes. Correct. It's open interval 0 comma pi, or you can say sorry, not open interval 0 comma pi, because it is tan, so it would be open interval minus pi by 2 comma pi by 2. That means minus 90 degree comma 90 degree open interval. Now adding this to pi by 4, that means 45 degree, and applying the tan, you would be getting negative. If you just take, suppose I take x as pi 60 degree, right? Or you can just take it as, not take 60 degree, take it as pi by 4 only. Pi by 4 belongs to this 45 degree. So 45 plus 45 means 90. So tan of 90 is nothing but infinity. So this side is infinity. This side is less than 0. But infinity is not less than 0. So that's why x can't be less greater than 1. So thus this is true only for x strictly less than 1. Not for anything else. Okay. Then you can be able to directly say that x must be less than 1. If you have just left the question up till this hence proved only, you will get 4 marks. If you have given this reasoning that x can't be 1, x can't be greater than 1, so that means x must be less than 1, then you will get the full 6 marks. Remember, in these types of questions, they would just give it to you and you will be just proving this thing. But that is just a half question. You have also to show that it is true only for x less than 1, or only to that condition. Or if they are given that condition, so you have to use that condition, because this condition is given for a purpose only. This is the purpose. It is not true for anyone x, any x greater than 1 or equal to 1. So you have to do by this. Then you have to take x equal to 1. So you will say it becomes infinity, which can't be true. Okay. Then you will say x greater than 1. You will say this is negative, but this is infinity at pi by 4. So that's why we can't take. And then finally you get that x must be less than 1 only. Okay, so if this method 1 is not clear to you, you can totally leave this method, because the method 2 I'm going to tell is very easy, and you can directly apply that method as well. Also, you may directly get this condition from that method. So look at that method as well. Yes, for x less than 1. Okay. Now, so method 2, you have to show this thing for x less than 1. What you have to do, you have to take the left hand side. For the proving, you just have to take either right hand side or left hand side. But we can't do anything from right hand side, so we'll take left hand side. Okay. What's our aim? We just have to want this. What we can do? We have to convert the inside term in the tan form, so that we can use the tan inverse of tan theta type form, so that we will get this answer. Right? So converting inside term to tan. Now 1 can be written as tan pi by 4 plus x as this same. 1 as 1 only, and 1 into x can be written as tan of pi by 4 into x, since tan of pi by 4 is 1. Why we are using this? Because we have pi by 4 over here. Now what we can do else? In place of x, I can write tan of tan inverse x, because that is equal to x only for all x belongs to 1. Right? Correct? Now what this becomes? Isn't this tan of pi by 4 plus tan inverse x? Or you can say tan of a plus b. Right? Tan of a plus b is what? Tan a plus tan b divided by 1 minus tan a into tan b. Correct? Now again using the property tan inverse of tan theta, as I said. So you get pi by 4 plus tan inverse x. correct? And that is what you want to prove. In this method also, if you have just sure up till this, you'll only get the 4 marks, because now you, the main part you have to show that it is true for x less than 1, and directly you can say over here. I'll tell you how. You have used this property in the last step. I have written this. This is the reasoning you have to give. I'll tell you now. Firstly, x not equal to 1. Why? Why x not equal to 1? Because if x equal to 1, this becomes infinity. Correct? And we do not take that. Okay? Because if x is equal to 1, this is infinity. And tan inverse infinity is pi by 2. But the principal value or the range for tan inverse function lies in open interval minus pi by 2, pi by 2. That means pi by 2 or 90 degrees not included. So x can't be 1. Done? Now. Also x is not greater than 1. Let me tell you how. You consider this quadrant. X is not greater than. Let's suppose x is greater than 1, any value. Okay. Now look at this. If it is greater than 1, so it would be negative. This inside term would be negative. And tan inverse of negative only, its principal value lies in which quadrant? According to this, tan is negative in the second and the fourth quadrant, because this term is negative. 1 minus x now. This term is negative and x is greater than 1. So this whole term would be negative. So tan inverse of negative, that means tan is negative in the first and the fourth quadrant. Okay. And the principal value lies in first and fourth and first only. So that means the common range is the fourth. So angle would lie in the fourth quadrant only. Now look at this. So by this LHS side, we get this value must lie in the fourth quadrant. Now look at this. Pi by 4 plus something. Now tan inverse x. X is positive. So tan inverse positive means what? Tan is positive in the first and the third quadrant. And its principal value either in the first or in the fourth. So now the common region is first. So tan inverse x value would lie in the first quadrant. And pi by 4 is also in first. So pi by 4 for any angle, it would be lying in the first quadrant. So now this RHS lies in the first quadrant. Its value lies in first quadrant, whereas LHS lies in the fourth quadrant. That means both are not equal. Angles are not equal in opposite quadrants, right? Correct? Because in the fourth quadrant, any angle would be negative. In the first quadrant, it would be positive, which are not equal. So that's why x can't be greater than. And thus we can say finally, this is true only for x less than 1. Okay, so in any question, if this kind of thing comes, you have to properly show how you can say that is true using the proper facts I have told you in the lectures on. Okay, so I hope these both methods are clear to you, and I would prefer method 2 to be followed, because this is very easy to understand. Okay, the rest is your choice only. Let's move to the next question. The third question you have to solve for x. Now this is very easy question, I must say, and it actually should not be of 6 marks, but I just gave it to you for your practice only. You have to find the value of x when sin inverse x minus cos inverse x is pi by 6. Just if you know the property, you can directly do this question. This property. Many times I have told you this, that sin inverse x plus cos inverse x equals to pi by 2 when x belongs to this closed interval minus 1, 1. This region or the domain is important, extremely important. Okay. Now, what you can do? You are given this thing. So you can find the value of sin inverse x is pi by 6 plus cos inverse x, taking this term as over this side, RHS. Now what? Now, you know that sin inverse x plus cos inverse x is pi by 2. Substituting the value of sin inverse x over here. So you'll get this thing. That means what? 2 times cos inverse x is pi by 2 minus pi by 6. And that is nothing but pi by 3. Now what? Just find the value of x. So you take 2 on the other side, so you will get cos inverse x is pi by 6. That means x would be cos pi by 6. That means x would be cos of 30 degree. And you know that cos 30 is nothing but root 3 by 2, which is your answer. So this was extremely easy question. Nothing you have to do, just you have to remember this property and apply it. Directly solve the both equations basically for x. Either you can solve with this cos inverse or you can solve with sine inverse. You'll get the same answer. Okay. So I hope this question is clear. Let's move to the fourth one then. Now, this question you have to write in the simplest form. I hope most of you have left this question, but let me tell you, this is also an easy question just using some trigonometric properties that you have known earlier. Okay, let's see. So our task is basically, in order to convert it in simplest form, to convert this inside term in tan form, so that we can use the property tan inverse of tan theta, right? So let's see how we convert. Now cos x over 1 plus sin x. So here also I'll tell you two methods how to convert. Whichever method suits you or you find easy, you can follow that. Just only use the trigonometric rules. Now cos x is nothing but sine 90 minus x, and sine x is nothing but cos 90 minus x. So you can write it like this. Now using this, sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. So take it like 2 into pi by 4 minus x by 2. So it would be 2 into sine pi by 4 minus x by 2 into cos pi by 4 minus x by 2. Similarly, inside in the denominator, this thing. You know that cos 2 theta is nothing but 2 cos square theta minus 1. So 1 plus cos 2 theta, again take 2 common, so it would be pi by 4 minus x by 2. Right. Okay, just leave it for as it is right now. Now use this. Now look at this. Using this property. Cos 2 theta is 2 cos square theta minus 1. So 1 plus cos 2 theta would be 2 cos square theta. Now take it as 1 plus cos and take 2 common. So it would be, inside would be pi by 4 divide minus x by 2. It would be this only. Now what? Just cancel cos and cos. So you'll be having 2 sine pi by 4 minus x by 2 by 2 cos pi by 4 minus x by 2. 2 cancel. So you'll be having tan of pi by 4 minus x by 2. So now your task is complete. You have successfully completed this term in tan form. Now just using the property. So tan inverse of this becomes tan inverse of tan pi by 4 minus x by 2, which is nothing but pi by 4 minus x by 2. Since tan inverse of tan theta is theta, for all theta belongs to this open interval. Now carefully look, for any value of x, pi by 4 minus x by 2 would only belongs to this only. That's why we have written like this only, right? So just remember what we are writing and which property we are writing, what is restriction. That is extremely important. So I hope this method is clear to you. In this case, this method is not clear, then please look at the second method to have another idea how to solve this problem. Okay, let us see then. So in another problem, I'll write this cos x over 1 plus sin x as this. I'll now directly apply the property. So cos 2x, I'll take it as 2x, so it would be x by 2, right? So cos 2x is nothing but cos square x by 2 and sin square x by 2. Similarly over here, 1 can be written as sin square, cos square x by 2 plus sin square x by 2. And sin x is nothing but sin 2x. So you can write sin 2 times x by 2. So sin 2x formula you can use. So you can directly write it as 2 sin x by 2 into cos x by 2. Using these three simple formulas. Right? First, in the first you write this thing. Cos square, this cos 2 theta is, okay, just cut this. It would be cos square theta and sin square theta. Then again you use 1 as cos square theta plus sin square theta. And then you use sin 2 theta as 2 sin theta cos. Okay? Now what? Now cos square theta minus sin square theta, it's nothing but a square minus b square. So it will be a plus b into a minus b. In the denominator you have this cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2 the whole square. Because this is cos square x by 2 plus sin square x by 2 plus 2 times sin x by 2 into cos x by 2. right? Now just cancel this one power. So you would be having cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2 divided by cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2. Now what you can do? Take cos common. Cos x by 2 common from numerator and denominator. So it would be 1 minus sin x by 2 over cos x by 2. Okay, this is minus over here. And 1 plus sin x by 2 over cos x by 2. Cancel this cos, so you'd be having 1 minus tan x by 2 over 1 plus tan x by 2. Why I did this? Because I have to convert this in tan term. So I'll take sin over cos as tan. Now I can write 1 as tan pi by 4. And again get this thing. Tan of a minus b. Tan a minus tan b over 1 plus tan a tan b. Tan pi by 4 minus x by 2. And again do the same thing. The tan inverse of this is nothing but tan inverse of tan of pi by 4 minus x by 2, which is pi by 4 minus x by 2, using the same property. Okay, so these are the two methods I have told you. In the first one, we first converted in sine 90 minus theta and cos 90 minus theta. In the second one, I directly apply these three properties and solve it. Whichever method convenient to you or suits you, you can use that. Okay, in case of any further doubt, please mention the comment section. Let's move to the next question. Now, this question is also a bit tricky, I can say, but it's actually easy if you just look at its solution. Okay, and remember here also x belongs to this, the region is given. So I'll tell you later how to use this. I have also given a hint in the exam that you can do like cos inverse x as y, substitute its value over here and here, and then you can just reduce something, convert it in cos form, and then use cos inverse of cos theta, something like that. Okay, so you can do that. I hope with that sufficient hint you have completed this question. If not, then please look at the solution. So doing the same thing, take cos inverse x as y. Then x would be nothing but cos of y, taking this cos inverse over its side, so it becomes cos. Now what? Now I have to find sine. I'll tell you why I am doing this. I'll tell you at later stage. Just remember this. So you know that cos y is x, then sine y would be square root of 1 minus cos square y, using the property that sine square plus cos square is 1. You have to give it the reasoning over here. I have not given it. Okay, that sine square x plus cos square x is 1. So that means, sorry, sine square y plus cos square y is 1. So sine y would be square root of 1 minus cos square y, and that is square root of 1 minus x. That's how I get this. I'll tell you why I am doing this. So this was the question given to you. Just substituting the value. So cos inverse x would be y. Cos inverse is the same thing. X would be cos y by 2 plus half. Now 3 is common, so you can take 3 outside. So it would be root 3 by 2, and it would be nothing but square root 1 minus x square. Now here I'll substitute this value sine of y to easy my task. What it would be? Y would be same, y plus now cos inverse. So it would be, now what I can do, just I have to convert this inside term in cos, so I am using the formula. So now half can be written as cos pi by 3 or cos 60 into cos y plus root 3 by 2 in sine is nothing but sine pi by 3 or sine 60, and this would become sine. Now why I have done this? Because this is nothing but cos of a minus b or pi by 3 minus y. Cos a minus b is nothing but cos a cos b plus sin a sin b. That is what I have done. Because now I will get cos inverse of cos theta, and I can use that. It is equal to theta, and it is y to y cancel, it would be pi by 3. Now there comes the important part. You know that cos inverse of cos theta is theta for x belongs to this 0 to pi closed interval. Now this pi by 3 minus pi, this may belongs to the first, and this may also belongs to the fourth quadrant if y is greater than pi by 3, because then it would become negative, right? This term, this theta. Now here comes the role of this x. So it was given to you that x belongs to the closed interval 1 half comma 1, and also you let that cos of y is x. So that means what? Cos has the value in this interval half to 1 when y would be from 0 to pi by 3 only, right? Because at 0 it would become 1 and at pi by 3 it would become half. If you go outside of this interval, it would not be from this half to 1. That's why it was given half to you, so that you can just get this y. And now with this y, you can say that pi by 3 minus y, so it would be, yes, it would belong to this interval. Because if y is 0, it would be pi by 3, which belongs to this. If y is pi by 3, then also it's 0, it would become this. So for y belonging to this interval, pi by 3 minus y belongs to this interval. And that's why I can use this property and can say it's theta. Now suppose if this was not given to you, that x belongs to closed interval half comma 1, then you'll leave your answer up till here only. Because you don't know whether this is equal to this or not. Because pi by 3 minus y, then in that case, can either belong to this or cannot. Right? So then you will write by yourself that if y belongs to this interval, then we can write it like pi by 3. Okay. So this is the important thing, how the domain or the region which is given to you is important. Like in this question as well, you have to use this x value to get y, and then using that you have to say that pi by 3 minus y belongs to this interval, that you can use to show in this problem. So these properties are very important with their domains. Don't forget their domains. What are they? So I hope this question is also clear to you. It was an easy question with a hint given to you. Let's move to the final question of this section, or the final question of the paper. In the sixth question, you also have to prove that this thing. Now many of you have done this question because this was the homework question I given to you. Not the exactly the homework question, just some terms are missing, but the similar question to that one only. Okay. If you have done it, very good. If you have not done it, then please look at this. I'll also tell you this method again when we'll be dealing in the next lecture, in the 8th lecture. I'll also be telling you the answers to your homework questions. So in that also I'll explain this type of the similar question given the homework. So again in the second time you can understand that method there. And now I'm also explaining this method. Okay? Very easy question. You have to start from inside only. Just remove the brackets from inside and you will finally get this. Whenever this type of thing comes, if outside is sine, so you have to convert inside term in sine inverse form. Okay, so that you can get easy your task. So let me take cot inverse x as alpha. So then cot alpha would be x. Now cot alpha means cos alpha divided by sin alpha. So cos alpha is nothing but x into sin alpha. Okay. Now I have to find sine of alpha, so that I can substitute its value and sin inverse alpha. What I'll do, I'll substitute the value of cos alpha. You know that? Now the first reasoning you have to get. Sin square alpha plus cos square alpha is 1. So cos alpha would be square root of 1 minus sin square alpha. So now solving this, square root of 1 minus x square equals to x into sin. In order to get rid of this square root, take squaring on both sides. You will get 1 minus sin square alpha is x square sin square alpha. Now take sin square alpha this side. Solve for sin square alpha. Take square root again. So you will get sin alpha is square root of 1 upon 1 plus x square. Okay. Then this term sine of cot inverse x, what that would become? Sine of alpha, because I have taken cot x as cot inverse x is alpha. Then replace alpha by sine inverse of square root of 1 upon 1 plus x square. Now sine of sine inverse x is nothing but this, because x belongs to this interval and you know that this is nothing but belongs to this. Okay. Now what you will be having, cos of tan inverse of this term. So what I will take, tan inverse of this term as beta. So then tan beta would be this term. Now we want cos, inside we want cos inverse. So for now with this we can write sin beta as cos beta, because tan beta is nothing but sin beta by cos beta. So sin beta would be cos beta into square root of 1 upon 1 plus x square. Now again do the same thing. This you are having, So take squaring both sides. Now don't take square firstly, you convert this sine in cos, which would nothing but this. Square root 1 minus cos square beta. Squaring both sides, simplifying, we'll get cos of beta as this term. Clear? Up till this it's clear? Now, this was the question given to you. Firstly, we convert this sine of cos t inverse x in this form. Then we'll solve for this. We'll take this as beta, it would be cos beta. Then we convert beta and it will be cos inverse of square root 1 plus x square over 2 plus x square, which is nothing but square root 1 plus x square over 2 plus square, hence we are done. Because we are using this property that cos of cos inverse x equals to x whenever x belongs to the closed interval minus 1 comma 1. Okay, so this was a very easy question I given to you. This was just a homework question. If you have done the homework question, then you might have done this question very easily. You just have to always start from the inside part, start simplifying our inside, and you will finally get the answer. Just remember the trigonometric identities, that's all you have to use, and some properties. That's it. So I hope you are done with this today's quiz solutions. If you have further any doubt in any of the question, please do mention the comment section. I would be eager to help you. Okay. So let's end this session now. If you find this video helpful, if you just learned something, then please do like this video, share this video and subscribe the channel because that is very important. Also, if you have any further suggestions or comments about this channel, then you can mention it in the comment section. Okay. And from now onwards, as I already mentioned that the frequency for the videos would not be like that as it was earlier. So it would not be from 4 to 5 videos in a week, but it would be about 2 to 3 videos. I'll try to put 2 to 3 videos in 2 weeks around. Okay. In 2 weeks you will get 2 to 3 videos. If more possible, then I'll be uploading it more. But please do watch the recordings of the earlier videos that I have uploaded in case you have not watched the previous 7 lectures in this part. I have taken 7 lectures and 2 quizzes up till now. That means we have in all taken 9 lectures on this topic, inverse T functions. If you have not watched any of that, then please do go and watch them, and also like those videos, share those videos with your friends, and subscribe the channel to get all the notifications and updates regarding the videos whenever I'll be uploading them. Also, one important note: from now onwards, we have now a Telegram channel named as ISC Maths Class 11th and 12th. So you can just type this name on the Telegram and just join the group. In case you have any doubt, you have any query, you have any problem, just mention that in the group. I'll be considering that on. Okay, so that I can just get conversation. We can just have one more platform to communicate with. So this is the Telegram channel. Just type ISC Maths Class 11th and 12th in the Telegram app and you will be directly able to join the group. For any questions, for any doubts regarding any chapter, you can just post over there. Okay. Also, you can post any other solutions, any other suggestions that you want to give. You can also do that. So see you then.